Welcome to The Alternative with me, Jay Moore, brought to you by Old Spice Red Zone. And like the San Diego Chargers, we come into your house and we leave you shocked. First up, this is what I know. Let me turn off my phone. That'd be a good place to start this segment. What the hell happened on Sunday? Peyton Manning lost in the playoffs, Eli Manning won in the playoffs, and the Knicks beat the crap out of the Pistons. It's like it was opposite day. I half expected to read that Michael Vick got a prison puppy, or George Steinbrenner makes a rational decision and soccer suddenly isn't very gay. Terrell Owens cried yesterday when talking about Tony Romo. I thought Jessica Simpson was the only chick in Romo's life. The league is expected to check T.O.'s urine for Midol. In one moment, T.O. went from one of the game's best receivers to Chris Crocker. Leave Romo alone! Wow, I just extended that guy's 15 minutes. It's okay to cry in sports. It happens all the time in the WNBA, the LPGA, and the Knicks locker room. But come on, T.O., get it together. Bruce Springsteen forked over $200,000 to Olympic equestrian Todd Minkus as part of a settlement. Minkus sued Springsteen after he reneged on buying one of his horses for his daughter. Springsteen backed out of the deal after the horse, named Pavarotti, by the way, performed poorly at horse shows. Yeah, I think the boss's first clue should have been that the horse's name was Pavarotti. Yeah, let me help you out here, Bruce. When it comes to sports, don't buy anything named after a 500-pound dead opera singer. With a name like Pavarotti, he was not born to run. Okay, maybe he was born to stick at the feed bag a little longer. And other fat jokes. Is it too soon, Pavarotti? Insiders say the boss is eyeing a new filly named Mangino. The Golf Channel suspended anchor Kelly Tillman last week after she remarked that younger players should, quote, lynch Tiger Woods, end quote. Tillman also said KJ Choi shouldn't be allowed to drive a golf cart and Chichi Rodriguez stole her purse. Minorities. Always good for a giggle. Soccer insiders say the new MLS team in Seattle will be named the Emerald City Greens. The Greens? What? Nothing puts fear in the heart of opponents as going head-to-head against a color. Maybe they're named after a salad. Come to the soccer game. We'll bore you to death and then clean your colon. People tell me that hockey season is in full swing, so it's time for our recurring segment, What is the Stanley Cup Thinking? T.O. cried like a bitch Sunday. We lost as a team, man. Yeah, but you cried like a bitch, and that was weird. I've never cried. That was What is the Stanley Cup Thinking? Cup's a little harsh today, don't you think? Did you know my wife made the list of AOL's 50 hottest women in the history of television? Number 32. Time to give out this week's Game Ball. This week, the nominee's name was emailed to us by Lou Krishak, and I couldn't agree more. Joe Gibbs. That's right. Krishak says Joe Gibbs gets the Game Ball, and he's right. The Hall of Fame Redskins coach called it a career last week. This man is as class gets. It takes quite a man to pull a team together after the murder of a star player. He could have just put on cruise control, and no one would have blamed him. But you know what? Cruise control is not his style. After all, he does own a successful racing team. He led the Redskins to the playoffs this season under near impossible circumstances. Just look at this guy's numbers. 3 Super Bowls, 4 NFC championships, 10 postseason appearances, 171 career wins, all without controversy. You never heard anything about Joe Gibbs hitting a player, cursing the officials, or yelling at the fans. This guy did it right in every aspect of the game. When people describe Joe Gibbs, words like class, success, and inspiration come to mind. Usually during the Game Ball presentation, I make some smart-ass comment, but for some reason, it doesn't seem appropriate. I want to send Coach Gibbs out the way that he coached, with dignity and respect. So, Coach, this Game Ball is for you. Thanks for your career. You will be missed, sir. The flu's not what it used to be. You used to lay in bed, your mom would help you out. Now you got to get out of bed, take care of your own kid. New segment, no more jockstraps. From now on, we're going to have the help of Old Spice Red Zone and tell people who stinks and who needs Old Spice Red Zone. You know who needs it? A lot of people out there. I'm awarding this award to everybody out there who criticized Tony Romo for going on vacation with Jessica Simpson. You know, I'm guessing your girlfriend looks less like Jessica Simpson and a lot more like Homer Simpson. To be clear, let me say I'm no real fan of Jessica Simpson. She's done about as much for music as Britney's done for parenting. But let's face it, she's pretty hot, and Tony Romo's a man, and one of the reasons guys play sports is to impress women that look like Jessica Simpson. He was given time off. It's his time. He earned it by leading his team to a good enough record to receive a bye in the playoffs. Look, if I were in his shoes and earned some vacation time, you better believe it I'm going to be with my woman on a beach. What do you people expect him to do? Have a quilting club with his offensive line? Something tells me everyone criticizing Romo has never been with anyone even remotely as attractive as Jessica Simpson, and I'd be willing to bet if given the chance, you'd sell your mother or your prized collection of Dungeons & Dragons figurines to spend 15 minutes with her. I know it's not all geek sports writers getting on Romo's case. Terry Bradshaw gave him grief. Now, Terry's a good guy and a great personality, and he's a friend of mine, but let's face it, he's not getting any letters from Mensa. Just be glad your QB's distraction is hot chicks and not DUIs or dogfighting. If you want to criticize Romo for anything, it's bringing her father along. Ugh, that dude's creepy, man. He went from being a minister to pimping out his daughters. He looks like the old guy at the strip club who knows all the dancers. I, for one, hope Tony Romo spends more time with Jessica Simpson, because the more she's with Tony Romo, the less time she'll be in the freaking recording studio. So all of you people who keep getting on his case for having sex with a hot blonde, do me a favor, get some Old Spice Red Zone, because you stink. Joe Gibbs is like, wow, I've made it. It's time for the email question of the week. This is our first one. This is exciting. It comes from our friend Chad in Smyrna, Tennessee. Chad writes, hey Jay, why do you care about whether or not sportscasters wear ties? It's a good question. First of all, Chad, thanks for the email. Good to see the internet has made its way to Smyrna, past all the stills, jugs, and banjos. Look, I have nothing against ties or people that wear them. Some people need them. Lawyers, politicians, or in your part of the country, revenuers. These people all look good in ties. I love sports. Not once have I played one or seen anyone playing a sport while wearing a tie, that's all. And I don't think you should have to wear a tie while talking about sports. And kids don't wear ties when they play sports. They don't say, let me grab a ball, a mitt, and a tie. It just doesn't fit. Go into any sporting goods store in America. There's plenty of t-shirts and sneakers. Not a lot of tie sections. Walk into a Foot Locker and ask anyone in a striped shirt to point you in the direction of the ties. They'll point all right, and they won't be using their index finger. I'm not saying you won't see me wearing a tie ever. I wear ties all the time. In fact, I think I look quite handsome in a tie. I just don't wear one here at The Alternative because it's The Alternative, where things are different. We say screw the mainstream, but you don't have to wear a tie to talk about sports. Thanks for the email, Chad. And I want to hear from the rest of you. Bring them in.
O.J. Simpson is here tonight. Doc?
That's all for this week. Hey, if you see Tony Dungy, do me a favor, beg him to stay. The game of football needs him. Also, remember, if you have a question you want answered right here on The Alternative, send an email to jaysalternative@live.com. If you've got a nominee for the game ball or the you stink, let us know. Maybe we'll include it. And if we use your email on the show, we will send you nothing at all. But hey, you'll be part of The Alternative. Maybe it'll get you some, and you won't be on alt.com for once in your life. We'll see you next time for an all-new episode of The Alternative, brought to you by Old Spice Red Zone. It works for me. Until then, screw the mainstream.